and welcome back to Uncensored Paje. This is a raw style documentary series that I do here on my channel, just sharing with you some of my personal growth, online business experimentations, and everything and anything really that has something to do with life, existence, and spirituality. And so I want to share with you top 5 lessons from my second year in business. So I uploaded the first year in business, I think sometime in 2019, and it's 2021 now. But you know, the second year makes up for the time really that I took away, just because in between those times I was on maternity leave. So the very first one that I want to share with you is, in my second year in business, I really learned what it means, you know, and this is something I've always believed in, to always choose peace of mind over anything else. And so, as you know, with the pandemic and so many things happening in the world, there are a lot of things that can really boggle our minds and, you know, cause chaos internally. And sometimes, you know, especially when it comes to business, that can come in a form of clients. And over the past year, I actually had to fire a couple of clients on my own personal business, in the businesses that I worked with over the past year. And I really realized the value of your peace of mind, because you know, this is the reason why we started a business in the first place, right? We want to live a life that is fulfilling, that is meaningful, not something that is just going to be another source of stress for us. And obviously, you know, I'm not saying that running a business does not give you any type of stress. I know that even when you're fulfilled and really happy about the work that you do, there are times that stresses will come. But I think what I'm talking about specifically here would be stresses in terms of misalignment, especially when it comes to the clients that you're serving. So I really came to some difficult decisions where I had to let go of some clients, where I had to speak to my colleagues about this and really talk about the need to let go of certain clients, just because it doesn't really serve the business well. And you know, I think on a team perspective, if someone in your team is stressed out about this client, sometimes you gotta weigh the pros and cons, you know. Is the source of stress really coming from that client, or is the source of stress coming from a team member that might not be performing or adapting well, right? So as a CEO, as a business owner, you need to have a clear answer to this. And if it is your client, I just am very glad that I'm learning this earlier on in business. A stressful client, a misaligned client, you know, is not worth any amount of money, okay? All right, so number 2, in the past year, I actually experienced and, you know, did a lot of hiring for businesses that I work for and for my own business. And I really grew so much as a team leader, as, you know, someone who wants to create an amazing team culture for my business. And you know me, I'm a millennial, and over 60% of millennials would rather work for companies that share common values, that they feel is more aligned with the things that matter to them, rather than the amount of money that is being paid for, right? That they're earning from this company. And so, you know, having to experience needing to hire a couple of team members and going through the interview process, posting to job ads, going through the interview process and choosing which candidates to hire, I really learned to spot an A player. And you know, I'm not saying I'm an expert at this. I definitely am still learning. There's actually a recent experience that I had beginning of this year where I had to let go of a new hire just because it was not an alignment with our team culture in the long run. And you know, certain things that was just not up to par to what we are looking for. And so I believe that when you're hiring someone, you will know if you hired an A player by the end of the second week. So once you hire them and you feel that, there's a sense of relief that they bring in, I think it's worth to, keep that person past the 2-week mark and see how and where it would lead. But if within that first 2 weeks, they give you more stress, and you feel like you're handling more on your plate as a CEO, as an owner of the company, when in fact there should be less on your plate because you just onboarded someone new, I think you really need to reconsider keeping them in the long term. And so there's obviously different parameters and different different factors that come into play, but it's really important that I think there should be a 2-week probation, and an ongoing feedback when it comes to your new hire, to your new team member, just so you can protect and keep that team culture and that level of excellence that you want to portray and to really embody in your business. Number 3, invest in yourself and your business. Now, I want to share this in a different perspective, just because, we've heard this lesson or this quote in so many different places. But what I'm trying to get at here is, in my second year of business, I really learned that your business can only grow as much as you do. Okay, and I've heard this from my mentors before, and I really experienced that this year, with the pandemic and so many different opportunities to pivot and to shift, or to maybe shut down your business, for some. I really learned what it means to adapt and adjust and to invest in yourself and in your business, so that when things like the pandemic happens, or when things like a financial crisis happens, we don't just crumble down and cave in, right? So I really believe that your company, your business can only grow as much as you do. And so it's very important that you as a person, you're always growing, right? Because that's really how you keep adding value to your clients, right? If they're getting the same thing every single year, I just think that you're gonna struggle keeping long-term clients, just because we are bombarded with a gazillion options. So keep adding value. You always hear people say that. How do you keep adding value? By growing yourself, by improving yourself, improving your services. You can't improve your services if you're not improving yourself. So no matter what, whether it's, the golden age of our economy, or whether we are in a financial crisis, I think it's very important that you invest in yourself. Hire that coach. Don't be afraid. Don't operate in fear that you might not be able to survive. I think without growth, you will definitely not survive. You will cease to exist without growth. And so it's very important that no matter what, always invest in yourself, invest in your business, invest in your growth. Hire that coach that helps you solve that particular problem that is bottlenecking your business, and buy that course that will help you get to the next level. And frankly, I've bought so many courses, and I know that there's not every single thing we are actually able to apply or use in how we do our business, just because there's just so many things, so many information, right? But even though, there are some books and courses that I've read and studied many years ago, before I even started my business, that now I'm suddenly piecing the puzzles together, and it's all clicking in my mind. It's all making sense. And so invest in yourself no matter what, because whatever you're learning, I truly believe that you will use all of it sometime down the road. No matter what, keep growing, keep investing in yourself, because your company, your business can only grow as much as you do. Number 4, silence the chatter. So I noticed that we are just consistently bombarded by so many ads, and we are consistently bombarded by so many emails. And I know this because I might be one of those people that's bombarding you with emails and stuff on social media because I'm doing it in my business. But as a business owner, or even someone who's not running a business right now, I think it's very important to silence the chatter, especially with, from people or from companies that you don't share common values with. Sometimes I would find people who are producing really excellent content. Your mind, it's like a dopamine hit, and you just want to ingest all this information. But what happens is, I find that when we overload our brain with so many information, we take that new information is taking up space on something that needs to actually take space in our brain. And so I learned that no matter how good someone's content is, and I just want to ingest it, I've learned to silence the chatter. Perhaps you need to unsubscribe to some of your favorite people online right now, just so you can really focus on what truly matters, focus on that one thing that you really need to focus on. And frankly, I have, my email, I have limited it to 3 subscriptions, from people that I want to learn with. And I would even highly recommend that maybe you could put it down to 1. But for now, I would say, I would challenge you, limit the amount of subscriptions that you have, the amount of notifications that you have, the amount of people and feeds that you are following, to someone or something that shares your common value, that is going to add to your life right now. So lastly, number 5, be the first to bet on yourself. So as I've mentioned, the years in my business kind of shifted. I posted the first video review about my business in my first year around 2019. It's already 2021. So technically it's maybe my 3rd year now, but I've adjusted the timeline just because I was on maternity leave and I was completely off, my business mind to focus on my children and my son, my newborn. And so I, as with anyone, especially if you're a mother, or maybe even if you're a father, I'm sure you understand this. Every time you get a new child, you experience some sort of identity crisis, not very heavily, but you're always trying to find who you are again, and you're always trying to realize the new person that you need to grow into. And so I definitely felt that with my son. I felt that with Scarlett. Okay, so I felt that with all of my children. I felt that when I got married. So in every phase of my life, I'm always thinking about, okay, who is this new person that I'm growing into, that I get to grow into now? And I have questioned, oh my gosh, am I even an entrepreneur? I'm taking a pause in business. I'm not seeing that growth that I want to see where I'm at right now. And so you're doubting whether you're an entrepreneur and stuff like that. And I remember actually applying for a job last year that I thought was a dream job. And the company is amazing. I think this company really shared a lot of my core values. But then I realized, okay, Paige, that when you jump in here, you're gonna have to give it 100%. And that if you give it 100%, you need to imagine your life 10, 15, 20 years from now still working for this company. And as much as that sounded fun and good and all, just because the company really shares my common values, I realized that I was going to miss out on more, like my potential beyond working. I just felt like I was going to miss out on my potential. In my second year, I had doubted whether I was an entrepreneur, and the people around me kept seeing me as an entrepreneur. They saw me as an entrepreneur even before I recognized it in myself. And so, you're going to go through these phases in your life, and I just think it's really important that you are always the first one to bet on yourself. And what that means as well is that if you are denied or you get rejected an opportunity that you really want, I think, there's no harm in you actually paving the road for yourself and betting on yourself that, you know what, I still believe in myself even if I have not accomplished this right now. So always be the first to bet on yourself, because I think, especially if you're a coach, your clients will only believe you if you believe in yourself. Okay, so that is really where the confidence comes from. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta be the first one to bet on yourself, because everything else, if you have self-doubt, if you're unsure about yourself and you want to show people the way, you want to help other people bet on themselves, you can't encourage someone to believe in themselves if you don't believe in yourself. And so those are my top 5 major lessons, and I am going to keep sharing with you. I'm going to be doing more of these documentary series throughout this year. I have been really consistent with YouTube, posting at least once a week, and I'm really excited about that because this is something that I've always wanted to do. Regardless of the views and the subscribers, I know that this is a modality that I really want to focus on. And so for those of you who are watching, I want to thank you so much for joining me and for growing with me in this journey in life and in business. Until then, remember, your calling is in sight. Do the work, embrace it fully, and stay on the path. Here's to mastering your life and your business.